Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. If you were on a recent interview I did with Uncle James BASHIR, I asked him about what a lifetime contract meant in regards to Anthony Joshua recently signing a lifetime contract with Matchroom Boxing. Yeah. Salute to you, brother. Hope that you're well. So, before I begin this, I want to make sure that I make it very clear that I'm not trying to implicate, or I'm not trying to, because it's all speculation. But some of it isn't speculation. Some of it is the damn truth, because that's what we've been told. So we've been told that Anthony Joshua has signed a new lifetime contract, a lifetime deal, which is unique. Okay. So I find this kind of strange that he signed this lifetime deal. Then, yes, sir, good to see you in the room. The next thing I thought to myself was, okay, lifetime contract. Try to put it together. Why did he sign a lifetime contract? Well, remember I said before, I heard on the grapevine, and I don't know how true it is because I cannot prove it to be true or not. But there was some rumblings back in the day that there's stuff that Joshua has done. The lights have gone out of me. Isn't that lovely? The lights have gone out of me. Beautiful, isn't it? Just lovely. Thank you very much. We'll do this one in the dark then. We'll do this one in the dark. Hell, we'll do it in the dark. Hell, what's in the dark will come out into the light. We'll do it in the dark. Let's do it this way. Let's be cozy about this, right? So, oh, thank you. And then there was light. Thank you. Much appreciated. So, we've got some light in the house. Beautiful. There we go. Some light. Okay, so then we hear and Joshua signed this contract with this lifetime contract. So I got distracted there. And then we have a situation where, let's swing this back a bit in time, yeah? Where Barry Hearn was sitting there and he was opening his mouth in front of Dillian White. He would talk about the slave contract. Remember, back in the day, you know, the slave trade, you know, we had, you know, we didn't have to call him sir or madam, but now we have to call him sir and madam. So Barry Hearn was actually telling you how they used to operate back then, and it was illegal. Well, illegal, or it was just, he talked about it and it wasn't cool. And Dillian White's sitting there and he's laughing about it. But, you know, I think he's more laughing about it from a perspective of being, you know, slightly embarrassed. What do you say? How do you react to it? You know? So fair enough. So I've picked that in my mind, and I know people operate in patterns. If they think they can get away with something once, they'll do it over and over again. Let's go back to Chris Eubank. Wasn't Eubank Senior talking about how he was so wanted to protect his son, and the way like his career has been negotiated, even though the way his career could have been a lot better. So all happening tonight. The camera's going, the lights going. We'll be back in a second. There we go. Right. So yeah. There we go. So Eubank was talking about it, and he was alluding to the fact that the contract he had back then with Matchroom wasn't the greatest. And then we have BASHIR talking about various things about slavery or slave trade. And he mentioned it. So we tagged those two things up. So we add those two things up. And you think, all right, let's leave it for a second. Now Anthony Joshua signs a lifetime contract. Okay. The same people that brought you Chris Eubank contract and brought you uh, Barry Hearn talk about slave contracts in the past. You think, okay, fine. So you start putting together. Then you listen to James Allen BASHIR, who said, "What's a lifetime contract, Uncle?" Uncle tells me, says to me, "Slave contract." So like, this doesn't total up completely right here. Let me just go and find out what a lifetime contract is. And sure enough, I went and did my research, and this is what popped up. You can do it yourselves. What I'm going to do is just get my share screen up. And let me show my sound here. Let's get this here. Lifetime contract. That's there. Okay. And now you can see that. Can you see that on the screen? Let's bring that up big for you so you can see it. Right. The lifetime contract. Let me see if I can zoom in this on you. Anyway, it says here, this is according to what does a lifetime contract mean? A lifetime deal is an investment not only in an athlete's profession, but also in their personal life. Hear this again. A lifetime deal is an investment not only in the athlete's profession, but also in their personal life. To put it simply, Nike is betting that LeBron doesn't end up in a scandal. That might seem risky in light of Nike's declining contract with Tiger Woods after his personal scandal in 2009. So, next question you ask is a lifetime contract legal? I guess this is in America. It says the Supreme Court, however, stated that the interpretation of the statutory language was hollow and unpersuasive. The court found that contracts for lifetime employment inherently anticipate a duration longer than 1 year. Accordingly, such contracts fall squarely with the requirements of the statute of frauds. I don't know what that means because I'm not legal in that sense. I don't understand what that means. Now, can Joshua break that lifetime contract? It says it also means that lifetime contracts are prohibited. The contract must contain a provision that gives you a 5-day right to cancel the contract. 5-day right. That must be in American terms. Okay? So let me then go across to find out what a slave contract is. You can see that. Let me bring this up. So I feel that AJ is the boss ultimately in this deal. No. Shit is popping more now. Eddie is desperate now. He's nothing like AJ. BASHIR also said that AJ said Eddie does what he says. Joshua is too nice, man. Made a few mistakes and now he's been blackmailed. He's no hard man. Wasn't it career deal, not lifetime? No. Lifetime contract. Lifetime with Matchroom. Just that Matchroom will be working with AJ in some capacity for the rest of his career. Really hope Joshua hasn't done anything too bad. I know Barry Hearn is evil. Right. So, that being said, those two things there. Slave contract. Slave contract refers to the unfair long-term contract between Korean idols and their management agents. I don't know what it means by that. But basically, this is on Google I'm reading now. Let me come out of that. So what I'm saying here is this. They have full control of Anthony Joshua, the brand, and the man. His personal interests are their personal interests. And his professional interests also are his interests. So whatever Anthony Joshua does or says, they have that contract. Now, in another term, another sense, let me take this to you from the world of music. And let's use Britain's Got Talent, okay? When you sign up, and I know this, because we had an artist, American artist, that was on our channel and had to take his stuff down from our channel because he wanted to go and work with, I think he's got a deal with Warner Brothers. But what basically happens is all your intellectual property, before you go on those shows, all your intellectual property is taken. Anything you've done in the past, you cannot. Anything you do in the future, like on their show, it belongs to them. So you give up all your intellectual property, all your creativity, you give it all up to go on that show. And then afterwards, you can't engage in any other activities unless they say you are allowed to. So that's why you see these people that when they go on these shows and they don't make it, you don't see them afterwards. Or if they're doing anything, it's because that company, despite you putting all your efforts in, that company owns all of what you do. All the hard work you put in, graft, you sell that's why you say selling yourself out. And that contract to me sounds like Joshua sold himself out. That's what it sounds like. And money's one thing, but when you're a brand, you no longer have a life. Your life is now controlled by someone else. A lot of them are Anthony Joshua. You know why? And that's why they don't like Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder would never sign a contract like this. And remember, Hearn was trying to sign Deontay Wilder back in the day. And there was a trouble between Hearn and DiBella, because DiBella said, you can't be doing that. So anything that's a lifetime contract, the people will make excuses for it. Anything that's a lifetime contract, and you see it in black and white, quite literally, they have control of your personal and your professional. Where you go, what you eat, who you associate with, what time you go to bed, what telephone calls you're making, who you're having sex with. You think this is a joke? This is serious stuff. Wait, has Canelo got a lifetime contract? And surely Canelo's making as much or more money than Joshua. Is a real superstar. Come on. We don't know details. It could be a partnership deal or where one other has more control. What we do know is a lifetime contract. That's what we do know. Music industry and Hollywood has been doing it for decades. Yes. AJ's smart business. If nothing else, surely he would sell himself out. Really? Really? Then it makes you come back to ask yourself certain questions. That fight that AJ took against Andy Ruiz, he should have fought Trevor Bryant. Remember, Ruiz was the late replacement because Big Baby Miller got cancelled because he got caught with some PEDs. Remember that? Now think about it. The inside scoop on that was Stacey McKinley told me that Hearn didn't want to do business with Don King. That's why Ruiz came in. So, these people are making decisions for Joshua. So you got to ask yourself the question, when Joshua's parading himself around America, and some people said they saw hospital bands on his arm. Don't know how true that is, but it looked like hospital bands to me. Was he really in America going around looking to all these trainers, looking for a new trainer? Or was it a case of something else? Was he doing something else? And who has the final say into who Joshua trains with? Is this a Joshua decision? Is this a Matchroom decision? I mean, let's think about it already. You know Matchroom are not boxing people, they're accountants. It's clear to see. Look at all the fighters they've had and look at the poor matchmaking and bad matchmaking through the years. And then to talk about then, I can take you way back. Jess Harding, Gary Mason. Jess Harding had no business being in the ring with Gary Mason. Poor matchmaking. So it's not just now it's been happening. Years it's been happening. Has Joshua sold his soul? At that level, who knows? But when you sign a lifetime contract, now that things are getting tough, we'll witness the true face of Matchroom and Hearn. Not worse than any promoter, but certainly not better either. There we go. What of AJ signed away his physical rights? Well, you have. You've basically said, when I sign this contract, you have control of my personal interests and my professional interests. So if you sign your professional interest and your physical goes for that, bro. Your physical goes for that. His profession is a boxer. So they've got control of every move he makes. Everything that comes out of that man's mouth is monitored. Because that is an investment. I told you before, Joshua is a brand. It's not like all these other fighters, he's a brand. And investment comes from outside. So I believe that there's more than Matchroom behind Joshua. That's what I'm thinking. AJ could be player number 258. Think about it. Well, there we go. Go anywhere. Remember when Reese sacrificed Broner? Broner had a stone on him. Joshua will try to go into Hollywood soon. You know his soul has been sold. This is what we think about. That you see, that anti-Joshua, if he gets beat and his career is over, they can start pushing him and decide where they want to maneuver him next. Of course, AJ sold his soul. It's impossible to get these endorsements outside of boxing without selling his soul. His handlers control his brand. Facts. This is why Robbie's still there. Well, can't knock that. Joshua is worth 100 million. I highly doubt the deal was structured for all his intellectual property. I highly doubt that people who watch his show will not try to debunk what I'm saying. History gives us the best teacher. This is the same company that basically came out and told you about the slave trade or the sort of contracts. Go back and listen to BASHIR Hearn. The video's out there. These people move the same way all the time. Eddie Hearn is putting up a prize fight if he loses the rematch. Who knows? Does Joshua have all his money though? He's got too many handlers around him. That's what I'm saying. Those who understand what's going on here are not going to come up and bring me. You know the people, when they're talking, are what I call excuse makers. They're excuse makers. And they will come in a chat just to divert you, to take you off the sniff of the scent. The bottom line is this. So if anyone is here and believes that Dillian Whyte, actually believes Dillian Whyte shoulder was that injured and they had medical evidence, and then the next day he's talking about it's going to take time to build that fight up. Yeah, it's going to take time to build that fight. But a medical doctor can be given under some money to get paid off to write anything. You know that. I know that. Yeah, debunking is not a bad thing, but there's nothing to debunk. A slave contract is a slave contract, and somebody of 52 years in boxing heard it and said slave contract. So I'm not just regurgitating this. I'm talking to somebody who's been in the sport, in the game, 52 years when Ali was still boxing. So I'm not just making this up as I go along. And you saw the information in front of you. AJ was already drugged before the Ruiz fight. His handlers decided they want for him. You really think you can manipulate a way to go murder and not sell your soul? He has a machine behind him. Of course he has got a machine behind him. Joshua seems to have wake up a bit on the situation, but he's up against power stronger than himself. Of course. It's new age. Them deals don't exist anymore. Even record labels can't get away with it anymore. Yeah, right, of course. Sure. I believe you. Don't try it with me. You could try that crap with anybody else. Don't try it with me. You gotta think you need to recognize who you're speaking to here. You need to recognize who you're speaking to here, right? On the other channel, I've spoken to Destiny Child's former manager, all right? And he's still in the music industry today. So don't try that with me. Don't even try that. So come on, with that stuff. I know where you're coming from. Don't even bother. Move away from me. Anyway, I wonder how much influence companies like Lucozade have on AJ's career. Well, example. There are things within a contract. Now, the whole purpose of if you contract, you've got to break these words down, and the word contract in its initial form was where people would come and create paperwork that they were going to con you out of a situation. That's what a contract originally was, right? A way of how we can make an agreement that is in our best interest. Okay, not every contract is like that, but the whole idea of contract. Right? So, back to my point in Lucozade, there is things in that contract that Lucozade have. I mean, you don't even have to be Anthony Joshua if you're an influencer. There are certain stipulations. There are certain things from a sponsor. You cannot say this and that. You cannot be doing this and that, right? That's why you see Floyd Mayweather didn't have contracts. You look at Floyd Mayweather's career. How many of those contracts we signed to Nike and Adidas? You don't see it with Floyd. He was an independent. So he wasn't, that's why he's able to do what he did. Go over to HBO, take his stuff from HBO, and move over to Showtime. How many boxers can do that? He's a free man. A free man. There we go. It's not new age. So many slave contracts. White people have them too. There you go. It's there. It's there. You see it across the situation. It's called contract for a reason. The meaning is in the title. Of course. It's what it is. The root of something. That's what it is. So as far as I'm concerned, we have the history. And history is the best teacher. So when we listen to Barry Hearn saying what he said, then we look at what Eubank told us. Now we need to go back and listen to Eubank's interviews again. When we were there laughing, Chris Eubank, find it all funny. Now go back and listen to what Eubank was saying. Now go back and watch that GGG contract with a pen in the paper. I kept saying to you before, he didn't want to sign the contract. So what these people do usually is you don't play by their own game. They will make it look as character assassination. If we can't get what we want, then we're going to destroy your career. That's how these people are. That's the way these people work. If we can't get what we want from you, we will destroy your career. So Chris Eubank with that whole GGG situation, remember it? Oh, we didn't sign the contract. What was in the contract? What was in the contract? I don't know what was in the contract. You don't know what was in the contract unless you're there with the Eubanks. And bear in mind, Eubank previously had contracts in Matchroom, and he's telling you there he wasn't happy with it. How much money did Eubank make on that world tour? He must have 12, 14 world title defenses. How much money did Eubank make out of that on his world tour? There's the stuff we need to start asking questions on. All good spending hours debating what trainer AJ has, but should get, but will it will never happen. Rob is out till the end. Eddie's there till the end. big dossier of files of waiting for AJ if he steps out of line. Yep. Yep. And I'll show you how these people work. I'll show you how these people work. Let me give you an insight on how these people work. Let's go back into AJ's career a little bit. Right? So, if AJ stepped out of line, do you remember when AJ, there was a picture in the newspaper about AJ and his son? You remember that? And the woman, the mysterious woman. You remember? And they were trying to blow a big thing out of it. You know why that was there? That was there for people, for him to say, see what we've done here? This is just a little bit of what we can do. This is what we can do. There's a whole dossier of what we can do on you. We don't hear about it. I know. I've seen it. I've seen promoters cover up for pro fighters. I've seen it myself. I've heard it. A promoter talking to a newspaper and say, look, can you blah, 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 and we'll blah, 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 blah. Doesn't get in the papers. That's right. The etymology of contract is a Latin word. I guess means to enforce. So as you say, con man derives from it. Thank you very much. That was the word etymological root. Yep. That's one thing I learned from my partner. The etymological root, because she studies that. She studied mass communication. So I learned a lot of this stuff. Like when the police come up to you, and not me, because they haven't come to me, but you hear them say things like, do you understand what we're saying? It doesn't mean, that's what we call legalese, we call it. Different way of talking. To the normal person on the street, you will say, yeah, I understand. No, it means, do you stand under? What does that mean? Do you submit to what I'm telling you? That's why if you say yes, that means you agree with everything that the officer's telling you. So, do you understand? Do you stand under? Do you submit? Joshua has no true friend around him. He does not have the tools to fight against businessmen. That's it. If we both don't know, why are we so agree if people disagree? Let's move on. Good afternoon, bro. Unbelievable this is. It's not unbelievable. It's what it is, isn't it? It's the boxing world. It's this world in general. But we never even looked into it. Sports business is one of the most dirty on the planet Earth. No wonder boxers end up broke. Aha! How many fighters, great fighters, have ended up broke, having to come back and fight again? Where's Evander Holyfield? All those millions. Where's he gone? And this was a man, Evander, that was in the church, Crefeld Dollar's church. For those of you who know about Crefeld Dollar, how much money was he giving to the church? And they did tell him to bank that money or do something, invest. Well, I guess you can't take a house to water. You can't make it drink. I reckon AJ has shares in Matchroom due to his lifetime contract. We don't know what AJ got for agreeing to this lifetime contract. That sounds nice. That sounds great. Sounds brilliant. Let's hope that is the case for AJ. Let's hope so. By the way, it's not just AJ's position, it's all the top fighters at the top level. Fury went from exposing Illuminati to selling out and playing ball and signing ESPN. Then his career blew up. Look at Fury's career. Look at Fury's career. This guy couldn't even sell a ticket in the UK, let's be honest. And by the time, there was all that situation about him, it all got brushed under the carpet. He went to America, and now look, top of the world. What if there's any loopholes that Joshua can get out this contract? Don't think so. I think there's a certain amount of time before he can get out the contract, a week or something like that. Don't know. From getting his name dragged through the mud to a few years later being a star in Vegas, they all sell out to some extent, and we're all hypocrites for watching and supporting False Island. Once you know what it is, you then once you know what it is, then you make an informed decision to continue supporting. What I'm saying is this. If it is the case that Joshua has signed his lifetime contract, the light's gone again. The light come back again. if it is the case that Joshua has signed that lifetime contract, which we know it is, a lifetime contract allows whoever the contractor is to have personal and control of their professional career, that means that they can pick whichever trainer they want. They can keep the money in-house and not let the money go out. And remember, any trainer that comes in has got to be part of the team, has got to be part of the political landscape. If they're not part of the political landscape, they're not gonna, so go out to America and feel them out. Go out to America and find out who's gonna fit into that contract. Find out who's gonna fit in, not gonna cause too many waves. We need to find somebody who can come in, but don't cause too many waves. Somebody who's gonna be part of that contract. Boxing and music industry are dirty. Yeah, those in the know what I'm talking about. Lennox made some smart investments. Agree more should be done to support boxers post-retirement so they don't fall into drugs, alcohol like many do. Fury made the right decision for his career. Joshua did not. Now Fury is collecting while Joshua is falling, and the worst is to come. I totally agree with you on that one. If so, did he sell his intellectual rights? That is part of it. Personal and professional. So every time he boxes, his face is on a billboard or something. They've got his intellectual property. Now check this out. Here's a bigger question to ask. When Anthony Joshua retires from boxing, can he live off the videos, the fights, the interviews in 10 years from now? A lot of these boxers you see today, that you see their fights on HBO or you see them on YouTube, who owns those videos? You see, these promoters, their children is okay because they can live off the intellectual property on those videos that they have out there. Don't let promoters say, it's not much money in it. Well, if it's not much money, why have you got a contract on it then? Why have you got a contract on it? So that's why Floyd took his stuff away. Do you understand? There. I think his intellectual rights property would have gone as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they would have said, hey, you know what? Here's this. We're going to control this. We're going to do that. But here's what we're going to give you in return. We might say, in the future, you can manage fighters on matchroom cards. Your fighters can be on matchroom cards. Your future fighters. So any fight, for example, matchroom might say, you know what? Any fighters that come from the Sheffield, from that gym that you're training there, amateur gym you're training at, anybody comes through there, you get first dibs on them as a manager. And as long as they train with Rob, it's all good. You can be the manager, Rob can be the trainer. So Rob's still sorted. Joshua's got his management. So he's got something after boxing to keep himself going. Management and boxing. Do you see this? He's got a future. Money's coming in. Do you see what we're getting at here? Isn't it only Floyd who has his fights? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Now, the other thing I always wondered to myself, why was Floyd Mayweather always trying to get around Joshua? Didn't he know there was a contract coming to an end? So we don't see Floyd as much now. Coming to an end. Was it that they were trying to get a situation where for Joshua to jump ship and come to America and be with Al Heyman? Floyd was always around Joshua, always around Joshua, and then suddenly, bam, lifetime contract. So now the situation is different, right? Why was Floyd around Joshua and wanted to train Joshua? Think about this for a second. These things don't just happen. Floyd is a billionaire. You think he wouldn't sell out either? No, I think Floyd's got his fair share as well. Warren owned Senior, Lip, LP. Joshua could have obtained his rights. He was big enough. He could have done. But was he advised? Or was it when he signed his professional contract, there were things he could and couldn't do? Because Manny Pacquiao kept going back to Bob Arum. And they said that it was because Bob Arum had a whole lot of stuff on Manny cheating on his wife and gambling. And they said, well, to keep that quiet. That's what I heard. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I can believe it. Still is. Yes, he owns his intellectual property. That's why he makes so much. Warren Buffett around Floyd is all you need to know. Oh, shit. Right, but also money attracts money, right? Money attracts money. Floyd wanted to educate AJ in the business of boxing. Yeah, he did. But I think he wanted to either manage AJ or he wanted AJ over with Al Heyman. I really believe that. Have you seen comments from Canelo and Renesa about how they've enjoyed working with Al Heyman? LOL. Well, you see, what Al Heyman did, going back some time with his fighters, he paid them not just enough, he paid them more than enough. You see, their fighters didn't fight as regular because they were looked after well for the most part of Al. So, but yeah, it's just something to think about. Something to think about. So, if we go back, I'm going to go back and listen. I'm going to go back and listen to those Eubank interviews again. And I'm going to go back and listen to my interview I did with Eddie Hearn. Because I spoke to him about intellectual property. And all this stuff that I asked, the questions I asked Eddie back then, it's all coming back now. Let me ask you another question. The Kell Brook fight. When Kell Brook went and fought Gennady Golovkin, why would Kell Brook step up 2 weight divisions to go and fight Gennady Golovkin? Why did Brook move up? Khan move up 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo? Daring to be great. I don't believe it for 1 second now. I don't believe it. You could dare to be great in your own weight division. You could dare to be great in the next division up. No, jump up 2 weight divisions and fight a middleweight. What? It's up a second, people. Alvarez always praises the promoter he's working with, really means it. Well, you know, that's just being professional, right? Just being professional. And it's about having a relationship, being professional. So, just something to think about. Something to think about. Think about. But the things we need to do, what we can do, is go back and listen to that Eubank interview where he was talking about intellectual property and all that stuff. Go back and listen to that. Go back and watch the whole thing with Brook and GGG never sit well with me. The whole idea of Khan going up and fighting against Canelo never sit well with me and always made me feel sick to death. It's Rob and Eddie till the end. Now we know why Uncle Bashir will never be allowed in and around AJ. So continue asking why he does why does he phone Bashir? We know why. Of course we know why now. They don't make no sense. Think this out a second. This is a man that was getting his hands wrapped in spot, prepared to spar with Vladimir Klitschko. Why the hell, after watching a Vladimir Klitschko camp, being inside of Klitschko's camp, would you go and have an amateur setup in Sheffield when you've seen the best of the best training camps? I'm telling you who's in that training camp, yeah? The kind of guys that was in the training camp was Klitschko. Dillian White, Jonathan Banks, Anthony Joshua, who else? I think Malik Scott might have been around that time. Big Baby Miller. Are you listening to the sort of quality fighters that was in that training camp with Klitschko? What's his name? Tall guys from Sheffield. Boxer. I can see him now. Richard Towers. Deontay Wilder. Huh? You have been in a camp like that, and Josh was a very impressionable type of guy. You've been in a camp set up like that, and then you're going to go and set up your camp in England in an amateur gym. Does that make sense to you? That doesn't make no sense to me. That doesn't make no sense to me whatsoever. Doesn't make. The chief sparring partner is Martin Bacoli. Oh, by the way, he's meant to be fighting Tony Yoko. R.I.P. Bacoli. It just doesn't make sense. Brook destroyed his career not going with Al Heyman, who had all the welts exactly. But why didn't Brook leave for Al? I remember saying to myself back then, all Brook had to do was vacate that title and go and fight Gerald Hearn, who was very beatable. GG versus Brook was lambs to the slaughter. Absolutely. Sam Sexton in camp around then too. Yes, Sam Sexton, absolutely. He was in that camp too as well. Yes. This is why Hearn doesn't want AJ anywhere near Lennox. Lewis would never let AJ sign silly contracts. Absolutely. Are you seeing now how there's things building here? And then you hear people say, well, you know, AJ, he's not around boxing people. Why? Because boxing people turn and say, yo, bro, what's that thing you signing there, bro? What's that thing you signing there? Yo, bro, that's long. They don't want to hear any of that. They want to hear, yes, AJ, it's in your best interest to sign this. It's a fantastic deal you've got here. You know, you'll have a lifetime deal with Matchroom and Sports, and you'll be doing this, and you'll be doing that. Yeah, it's fantastic. And your children will be sorted. Your children, don't listen to the people out there. We know what we're doing. We're accountants. We know what we're doing. Hey. Now it all starts to make more sense. You start putting things together. That's why Lennox and AJ are not so cool with one another. Sheffield is the home, or maybe Lennox himself is trying to talk to AJ. Now, Lennox has spoken to a few people before. He went to talk to David Price, and he told David Price, you need to come to Canada. I will train you. You need to come to Canada. You need to get your ass out of England. That's one conversation. Here's another conversation. Lennox was talking to Audley Harrison. Now, you wouldn't know about this particular conversation because you just wouldn't know. But Lennox basically spoke to Audley early in his career, and he told Audley. And Lennox's response basically was that Audley just didn't want it. He's too busy with that celebrity lifestyle, and he's more interested in women than boxing. Look what's happened now. Audley used to cut corners in training. I'm not asking you all, I'm telling you. Lennox was trying to be a mentor to this guy. Didn't happen. So one thing, taking photos next to your idol, it's another thing actually listening to him. So Audley didn't listen to him. Price didn't listen to Lennox. And Joshua hasn't listened to Lennox. Just watch it. Sheffield is the home of GB Olympic boxing. Maybe part of his contract was to stay in the GB setup because these are the ones who groomed and handled him. It's the home of the Masonic boxing. It's breeding ground for the elites, so it makes perfect sense. So yeah, so if he's got a contract, that's how these people think. He's in-house. Like, watch this a second. How does a man like Timothy Bradley end up working with Top Rank like that? Remember, you used to call him a company man before he finished his career. Now he's with Top Rank and he's one of them big boys at Top Rank. How does that work? How does it get like that? How does it do that stuff? Did like Big Ord, but he turned pro at 30, making too many mistakes given how little time he had to get things sorted. Now, Big Ord was managed by my godmother, Hazel Bruno. She managed him and kept him unbeaten. And when she walked away from him, that's when Audley got beat. Having your girlfriend at the time doing your shoelaces up before your bootlaces up before you go and fight Danny Williams is not really the smartest thing to be doing. All right, that's just I'm just trying to show you that the mentality. And Audley was one of the first guys. Audley's one of the first guys who wanted to get away from promoters, wanted to get a cut of his money, wanted to do it independently. That's why Audley hasn't got so much crap, because he wanted to do things independently. Okay? The old conversation of Audley going to the BBC, huh? And he turned around and said when he was went to the BBC, it was like he saw the devil. That's what Audley said himself, right? So there are a lot of people in boxing, two-faced people, who look at them in boxing and say, "Oh, he's a decent geezer," but behind closed doors, the same people that are commentating, the same people that you're thinking, "Oh, he's a nice guy, he's all right, he's a geezer." It's the same guy sticking the knife in, writing certain articles that are unfavourable to turn public opinion. Very good point, brother. I understand why there's no boxing people around Joshua. Spot on. Another way to keep him under control. There you go. So the picture starts to fit in nicely. And then obviously that lifetime contract must have come in, because I think Mayweather was trying to come in under to try and help Joshua and try and get him out of that contract. So they said, we can't have that quickly. Bam, lifetime contract. Get this in quickly. So even if he gets beat by us, it doesn't matter. We got this guy. We've got this guy. Because you don't know what would have happened if Mayweather had got in when that contract was coming to an end. If Mayweather had got in and pulled AJ away, what would have been uncovered? And then remember, Al Heyman is far more powerful than Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Far more powerful. Although some of you deluded fans may think different. It's just a conversation to be had. Did you hear the 8-day Chappelle special about getting hustled on a street fair and related to the industry? Yeah. Now, there's another thing I'd like you to watch on my channel. Oh God, what's his name again? The guy's last name is Smart. All right, he's an hip hop artist. He's performed with all them, Grandmaster Flash, Eminem, all their hip hop artists you know. He's performed with them. He was like for Chicago. He was like a grandfather of Chicago in terms of how good he is. Is it DM Smart? Might be DM Smart. So I met DM Smart or something like that. Check his name out, DM Smart. Check the interviews I did with him. I actually went to America and met him, and he took me on a tour across Illinois. We were going across Chicago at the time. Showed me all the hip hop where he started his career and stuff like that. Check it out. And he talks about the industry. So don't think that you can just come here and try and put the wool over my eyes with some of the nonsense some people are talking. Promoting, it's all about controlling your fighters, and these people are ready to go far. Absolutely. Audley did see the devil. You can't be on BBC if you're not a satanic sellout. Not saying he didn't pull back and regret it afterwards, because he probably did. That's why he wanted out. The BBC are generally horrible people. Why I worked for them myself briefly. I know others that did. Yep. I know. I went to a press conference once, yeah? This is how deep this shit gets, right? I went to a press conference once. I'm not saying what press conference it was, but I was there. I went to several press conferences. Same guy keeps popping up. In fact, I mean, one press conference, I bumped into Richard Keys' son. Yeah? He looks just like Richard Keys, and he's funny. And I went up to him, and anyway, let's leave that conversation right where it is. I'm going to get myself in some trouble. Anyway, so coming back, at this press conference, so this presser guy comes up to me and goes, "See you, doing a good thing you are. I'll watch your work." A lot of us at the BBC watch your work. I said, "You know the difference between you and me? You are free. I am not." I'm like, Well, yeah. He goes, "I come here, when I come from BBC to do a filming press conferences, right? I can't ask the question I want to ask. I ask the question I'm told to ask. And then I can't go back and say, this is what I want in the video." No. They chop it up to how they want it to be. So I'm not free. The job is not great. I don't enjoy it, but it pays for the bills. Now, there's a girl who contacted me the other day. We were in the same media class together at university. Her name's Catherine, can't remember her last name. She's an Emmy award-winning journalist. I see her a few times now on BBC, Catherine. And she's on BBC, particularly around the whole COVID thing that was going on at the start, where it was the world pandemic then, when it first kicked off. She was doing a lot of stuff on BBC. She'd been reporting a lot. We went to the same university in Buckinghamshire. She's done well for herself, so well done, Catherine, if you're watching. But even those people, they're not free. They're not free. Would you say Audley massively underachieved? Would he have beaten Hay, for instance? Take it from me, he massively underachieved because he was trying to do too many things at once. Remember, he was trying to box, promote his own fights, right? Remember, it was A-Force, they called it A-Fast. You ever wonder why they put so much mockery on his career? Do you remember Herbie Hyde? Now looking back at that Herbie Hyde situation where Herbie came and it was a complete riot at Audley's function. Now looking back, I know now, looking back, that was because they were trying to mess Audley up in promoting fights. So they trashed the show. Do you remember that? Audley Harrison and Herbie Hyde. Go back to that. And the Danny Williams situation. These people don't realize they're being used as pawns at the time because Audley was doing something. And Audley led the way to other fighters then. You know, Hamid Promotions, Hatton Promotions. Where did all that come from? Because of Audley. So what Audley did achieve as a boxer, he should have legendary status in the UK for what he opened the doors for other fighters to get promoted. But are we going to see that as boxing fans and fighters being free? Oh no, because we listen to what these promoters say. Was Mayweather trying to help Joshua or get his share? When would Joshua's friend Floyd have started turning into a control freak himself? I don't think Floyd would have been running that situation by himself. I do believe that Al Haymon would have stepped into that situation. This is not Tank Davis, or any of those other Floyd Mayweather fighters. This is dead when it comes to that sort of business. LB would have been involved with that. It would have been a different situation. I think Prime Audley would definitely have beaten the Hay that fought Bellew. Many people would have beaten the Hay Bellew for. True. After AJ gets beat by Usyk, where does he see his career going? Or does he become the next David Price and become car crash TV in every fight he's in? Or is he fed to a bunch of bumps to keep his record padded? Don't know. You see, the question this is now. Remember, I met a guy on the train who works for DAZN, and he said to me, on no uncertain terms, he looked at me and goes, on the train, he rolled his shoulders and he went, and the shit just, when you get that feeling, it's something like, you know what, I don't want to be here. He's looked at me and went, this is face, what's his face again? We're getting them bells back. That's how he looked at me. We're getting them bells back. And imagine that, think about now. You build an arena for what? Sure you're going to get the belts back? Andy Ruiz comes in way overweight. Come on. Come on. I'm not going conspiracy theory here. I'm going, you are now in a situation where you're dealing with a brand. Are you prepared to mess up a brand? And then Andy Ruiz comes in totally overweight because he was eating. I just wonder if Andy Ruiz had to deal with some emotional disturbances that he was in with something over his head. Was Andy Ruiz meant to be Andy Ruiz when he got knocked down by AJ, meant to stay on the canvas? I don't know. AJ talks about how he found out stuff about the Andy Ruiz fight afterwards. What did you find out, AJ? What was it? That you weren't meant to fight Andy Ruiz in the first place? It's just stuff that you start going back and thinking, you put your things together and think, and why was that? And why is that? And what's this? And now Usyk. Is it cut and dried, Usyk being the heavyweight champion of the world, that he could just come along and beat AJ again? Usyk's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. But this is a game. Usyk, immediately after winning the belts, gave the belts back to Anthony Joshua. I'm not... I've seen enough of this sport now. Right. Nothing is cut and dried. Nothing is cut and dried. Thank you. Nothing is cut and dried. But why would you? You've just won the heavyweight championship of the world. This is what you've dreamt about. This is what you worked years at training and you just give your belts back? Really? Is it that you know you're definitely going to come back and beat AJ again? Or is it something else? I don't know. But I can't just sit back and say, oh yeah, AJ's going to get beat by Usyk. Or Usyk's going to beat AJ. I can't sit down and say anything like that anymore because of the amount of money that's involved and that AJ's the brand. And if you can build an arena for one guy, and Usyk, with all due respect, is not a money maker. He may make a little bit more money now, but he's not a money maker. The money maker, he has to fight the money makers, Joshua, Fury, in America. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm disputed. Protect brand and image. I'm going to get this up there. It says here, AJ, slave contract. Good evening. How are we doing? Good to see you watching the show. AJ, slave contract, Matchroom Boxing Union. Matchroom will make Joshua white. Yeah, they probably will. Or Joshua Chisora. When Drake's shouting at Al Heyman, you know he's doing right by his clients. Yeah. But I wonder, sometimes I wonder if Al Heyman's the key word. I don't know anymore, you know. Yeah, but the difference is Usyk isn't Fat Ruiz who will sell out. Now we're talking. Usyk completely different mentally. Fat Ruiz in the same way. I wonder. I don't believe Ruiz was set up to lose, nor Joshua to lose Ruiz. I don't know. Yo, AJ need payoff Usyk for belts. Fraud Boxing Council. It's possible. 12 months after the second Usyk loss, Joshua and Dave Allen are about to square off in a prize fight. Finally, your call. Adam Smith still growling into his microphone. Andrews Jr. would beat AJ rematch. It was a fixed come on Matchroom Funhouse. So I don't know. There's a lot of things there to think about. But when there's so much money on the table, nothing is that cut and dried. We've seen it enough times in boxing. I mean, we even admit it ourselves as boxing fans that the majority of fights we're watching are fixed. We'll go, what do you mean by that? Well, if you know that if a fighter goes 12 rounds, he's not going to get beat, even no matter what happens, as long as they don't get knocked out, that's a fixed fight for me. That's a fixed fight. So I don't know, people. Patty Ruiz said he put on a lot of final weeks, and then Hearn made sure hotels they had hot food in everywhere. Possibly. Don't they have to give the belts back? The organization sent a copy. Shaka Stevenson gave Herring his belt back after the fight. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, but it's in-house, isn't it? Usyk and Joshua in-house fighters. Herring and Stevenson are in-house fighters, right? I'd like to see what would happen if it was an out-house fight, like Josh. I wonder if Joshua fought Fury, whether Fury would go back in his dressing room afterwards and give Joshua back his belts. I don't think that'll happen. AJ follows protocol. He said that in New York. The way you come in the room and say that. It's just the way you come in the room and said that. It's funny. It's true, but it's funny. Personally, I think the powers that would be, would love to get two great hopes in versus Usyk. Yeah, of course. We just have to see things for what they are. Ruiz blew Al Haymon's opportunity to make Wilder undisputed. Yeah, that was the plan, wasn't it? When you lose your belt, you keep your belt. There's no one belt. Isn't it like that franchise belt? When you win the franchise belt, you're forever a champion. You can never lose it. He did. I'll send you the news article. I know, you have to send it to me. It's just the way you came in the room and the first thing you said was that. It's funny. No, Fury wouldn't give AJ's belts back. Them belts are going back to my side. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying. Why are you laughing, Grim? How dare you? Option 2 all the way. So I can now, when I look at AJ and I listen to him talk, I'm thinking, bro, why are you talking such rubbish? Bro, you don't make sense. You say that you said you've given up on the sweet science of boxing, but who's teaching you sweet science in the first place? Rob McCracken. Rob McCracken was teaching you sweet science. And why were you trying to outbox Usyk? Sounds to me, I don't know, but if AJ's following instructions, I'd like to know who those instructions are coming from. You keep a copy of the belt for your living room. You're still not champion. Listen, our sport can be a right joke sometimes. What happens if the linear champion retires undefeated and never fights again? I guess there can no longer be a linear champion. The man that beat the man who's now retired. That's how it goes. The man that beat the man that beat the man that beat the man is now retired. That's it. End of. End of. So I just think now, whatever comes out of AJ's mouth and this lifetime contract, we now have to be looking and say to ourselves, all right, what's coming out next? I know you believe that AJ was drugged to the first Ruiz fight. We can even see a witch in the goddamn changing room. As wild as Wilder, you see a witch in the goddamn changing rooms. Go watch it back. Oh, you need to listen to Porky's video on AJ Street Credit. They're saying AJ is a good guy from Watford. Good old Porky. Oh, by the way, got to give Porky's credit where it's due. I'm not sure that the recent one he did a video with John Fury, and those videos have got uncovered. Porky reminded me. Porky, you reminded me of Roger Cook, and if anybody remembers who Roger Cook is, I think Porky's going to end up becoming the Roger Cook of boxing, of British boxing at least. And I think Roger Cook was an absolute legend. Roger Cook's the type of guy that if you were a crook, he'd knock on your door and say, right, see you. I want to have words with you because I think your company is here and I think that you're doing some illegal stuff. He would knock on your office door and he said, I'd like to see your files. That's what Roger Cook did. It's called the Cook Report. If you ever get a chance, check out the Cook Report. That Roger Cook was an absolute legend. We need Roger Cook today in boxing, and we need Roger Cook to knock on some of these promoters' doors. It'd be fascinating viewing. AJ's like a person who wants to do what you can do better than you, but not beating you with what he can do better. Usyk and Ryan better than him. First red flag. Oh yeah, I see that, bro. The linear title goes eventually to the most deserving contender. Yeah, I guess so. If the linear title champion retires. I guess it could restart when the next undisputed champion gets beat. Yeah. Until then, they would have a field day with Porky at Bohemian Grove. Right. So I want to leave it there. It's not. Oh, by the way, just to finalize, I'm backing Caleb Plant tonight. Not because I think Caleb Plant is a superior boxer to Canelo. No. But tonight I'm backing Caleb Plant because he might get absolutely smashed to bits. But I'm backing Caleb Plant because I feel connected to Caleb Plant. You understand? I feel like he's more. I can relate to Caleb Plant, right? I can't relate to. Lights gone again. Lights have gone again. I can't relate to this celebration of Canelo where I have question marks about how his body is, the structure is today, and the best fighter in boxing. There's question marks about his the whole PD situation. I'm still not happy about that. And then the hypocrisy of Canelo, right? Canelo called Andrade the MF word, right? He called him the MF word at a press conference, right? And then Plant turns around and calls him it, and he kicks up a stink about it. I don't. And the whole franchise champion, there's a lot of stuff that I don't like, and it's just the cancer of boxing. Yeah, he's the pound for pound, and he's fought a lot of good guys. But truth be said, Lara beat him for a fact, and Floyd beat his ass. Okay, so what they're trying to do, I'll tell you what they're trying to do. Should Canelo win tonight or tomorrow morning, they're going to say, well, that's something Floyd didn't do. He never became undisputed. So that makes me better than Floyd. That's where they're getting to. Yeah, Floyd beat us, but Floyd was never undisputed. That's the crap they're building towards. Porky's co-host basically said Matt should play into AJ appearance to sell tickets, putting it up as the gangster Watford. I want Plant to embarrass Canelo. I'd like to see it too, to be honest. I want to see Plant upset the apple cart. Goes here. England's got the ghost of AJ turning his lights off. Quite possibly. I didn't just spend an hour talking about the elites of boxing for now to say Plant has a chance against Canelo. That's an unfixed fight for Canelo on the scorecards. That's why I hope Plant goes out there and puts it on him. I hope Plant puts it on him. And do you know why I want Plant to win that fight? Because it seems in boxing there's a cancer out there with the guys who actually want to go out there and give it a good go. It's like, oh, you want to give it a good go? You want to believe in yourself? We're going to boo you. Why? I want to see Caleb Plant go out there and give it a... And this other thing, oh, the best don't fight the best. But then, when the best fight the best, then the guy that is the underdog should lower his head and fight with his head on the ground. No. I want to see Canelo get truly tested tonight. I do. I didn't think Billy Joe Saunders was a test. I knew that Callum Smith was never going to be a test. And I knew Danny Glad to be here Jacobs would never be a test. Somebody said, oh, but Danny Jacobs is a harder puncher than Plant. Plant is going to stand there and have a go. If Plant gets knocked out having a go, fair enough. But for this fight, I hope Plant really gets stuck into Canelo. I really do. What if Caleb could take his power like GGG did? Then what? Caleb's a natural 168 pounder. I think he's going to bully him, Ward style. I hope he does. I really hope he does. I'm not hating on Canelo, but I'm not subscribing to a lot of the BS about Canelo. Triple G beat him. Did you watch last night's fight? Bad scoring. No, I didn't. Agreed. At Dave. So, you know, and the other thing is, I think at Triple G, his face doesn't fit the billing. He's another one. Was he, what, 300 million deal he signed? And look what they've done with Triple G. He's like, the other day he was a superstar of boxing. Now look at Triple G. People don't pay no attention to him as much anymore. Why is that? He left Abel Sanchez, and since he left Abel Sanchez, his career has just done that. Why? I'm still wondering why Nella is taking it personal. Maybe because Caleb Plant didn't do what other guys have done in the contract. We're not hating on Alvarez. He's the middle fighter. But let's forget certain things. Let's not forget, of course, fighting Murata later this year. Who cares? Who cares? This is a guy that's meant to be a legendary puncher. Never believed it. Julian Jackson, who used to be a regular on this show, needs to go back and contact Mr. Jackson. That's a fearsome puncher. But since he left Abel Sanchez, his career has just done that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about GGG no more, honestly. They just don't. They don't. It's not got the same pizzazz about him anymore. And why is that? I don't tell me because he's getting old. But yeah, all right, let me end now. So I'm backing Caleb Plant tonight. In a reason I'm backing him because I feel connected to Caleb Plant. I feel he's got the right mentality going into the fight. I like his mentality. I hope that his mentality follows through his form. Plant isn't a puncher, so he can only hope for points, which will never happen. That's how things are set up. So there's best hope in the rematch and hope that everyone's thinking Plant won officially in a robbery. Now, this thing about guys can't punch, you have to understand, and Kenny, I think you should know better now, right? It's not about how hard you punch. It's about how accurate you punch and whether you can catch Canelo. Look, Cotto's brother. Oh, I never knew Cotto's brother to be a legendary puncher. Yeah? This guy's a natural 168-pounder. Timing. If you get hit on that nerve along the chin. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, I see that there. I'm working on it. Yeah. If you get hit on that line on your chin, there's a line. There's a nerve on that chin. It doesn't matter who you are. If you get hit on the right spot on that nerve or that chin, yeah, you are going over. It doesn't matter if you're Canelo. It doesn't matter who you are. You get hit on that line, on the right spot, you will buckle. You will fall. Just like in the rib. There's certain parts in the rib. If you get hit up, there's a point where there's no muscle to protect you. You get hit there, you're going over. It doesn't matter who you are in the world, right? So he doesn't have to hit hard. He just needs to hit accurately. And if you can time Canelo coming in and land a shot, those are the punches that cause a knockout. Not them big, hard, winging punches. Check this out. James Toney, he's not a big puncher at heavyweight, yeah? But he dropped. Oh, you heard Evander Holyfield, didn't he? Lennox Lewis is a big puncher. He could put Holyfield down in 2 fights. James Toney comes along, hits him, drops him. Lennox Lewis couldn't put Ray Mercer down. Holyfield drops him with a left hook to the body. Oh, left hook to the head. So, talk about it. Keller's opposition not being the best. So every fighter goes to a situation where, okay, Mike Tyson, when he fought for the heavyweight championship of the world, was his opposition the best? The only person today in the heavyweight division, for example, who you could say his opposition would have been good or decent, Joe Joyce. and he's got the best record in the heavyweight division in terms of the amount of fights he's had and the caliber of opposition he's fought. But people don't look at that. So that comment you've made there is interchangeable when you want it. I think the Canelo blemish on GG's record would have helped, kind of helped. Kenelo's been through a lot, of course. They thought, yeah, they did think that. Kenelo's a special fighter, in my opinion, best since Floyd. Don't believe that for 1 second. Canelo's fought a certain type of guy over and over again. Anyone that can move from Canelo, that's why I won't touch. That's why I won't go. Anyone who can move, has got movement. The only way you know if Canelo is that good a fighter and he's improved that much is if he fights a guy that can move and can box. He's not going to fight them guys, so I don't believe that. Think Canelo wear boots. There you go. Outstanding commentary. People, please subscribe and share this video. Thanks, King. You're welcome. I'm just tuning in now. The moment I saw MBE on AJ's name, I knew it sold out. Bam! Oh, bam! But that cuts a bit hard though, bro, because my uncle's an OBE. But let's not go into that. He brought you the Teletubbies. He created the Teletubbies, the Hill Carnival, and he's an OBE. That's my uncle. So, oh, my great uncle. Let me get that straight. He's my dad's uncle. So yeah. So yeah, royalty has graced my family. Canelo has been managed well. Aha! Managed very well, very well, very well. Right, I need to come out of here. I really do. But thank you all so much. Please, please, I'm asking you all, when you get a chance, get onto your, if you've got Google, go to Google Store, download BWTM online TV. It's there. Download it onto your phone. You don't have to come to YouTube. It's all there. So do check it out. And check out my interview with DM Smart. If you're into hip hop, check it out. Blake Lorick, BWTM, DM Smart. Check him out. Funny thing is, with better management, AJ could seem like Canelo now. Yeah, of course he could have done. Of course he could have done. Making big moves and congrats. I download the app. Good man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Get on the website as well. Check out what's on the website. There's lots of stuff on there. Not just myself, other shows. Oh, and by the way, if you're an EastEnders fan, EastEnders, if you watch the stuff, special moment. Oh God. Rudolph Walker. I can't remember who plays at EastEnders. Rudolph Walker, guy from Trinidad. He is going to be on BWTM online. Check that out soon. Check it out. Coming to BWTM. Good show, Ingram. Yeah, it's not. I don't really like talking about stuff like this, but sometimes you have to. App is awesome. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to start adding stuff on the app now where you'll be able to download things and get discounts and stuff like that. So I'm working on it. I understand what you're saying, but Canelo has a great chin. Kovalev and GGG punch harder than... No, wait. Stop. Don't you dare mention Kovalev and Canelo. That was worse than a sparring session. If you can count the amount of right hands Kovalev threw against Canelo, more good for you. That was nothing more than a ranked sparring session. At least in sparring sessions, you're allowed to throw right hands. EastEnders. Patrick, yeah, that's it, Patrick. Kovalev was 106 years old and took a dive. My godmother's daughter is in EastEnders. Oh, wow. That's two people in EastEnders. Well, Judith Jacob, I know he's on the show, been on BWTM. Now we've got Rudolph Walker. And then the guy that's on Casualty, we've got him as well on the show. Frank from Patrick from EastEnders. I'm looking forward to seeing that interview. LOL. Yep, that's coming on BWTM soon. Kovalev was drunk in that fight. Probably was. His corner was giving him vodka into the water. Most probably didn't throw the right hand. Kovalev took a dive versus Canelo. That's quite clear. He didn't throw the right hand. So I don't want to hear nothing about Kovalev and Canelo. That count. That fight doesn't count. Right, let me get the hell out of here. Right, this has been the Please share the video. Like the video. Smash that like button as much as you can. Looking forward to the interview. Yeah, it's coming out soon. All right. So we'll see you soon. And Mr. McKinley's meant to be coming back. He was caught up with stuff. So next week we'll have Stacey McKinley back on the show. Comments and check this. Peace out. Salute you all, brothers. Salute you, sisters. And salute you all that are watching BWTM Sports. And shout out to Mr. Porky. Keep on trucking, my friend. Keep on trucking.